So what is going on, people? I'm gonna tell you, this has been a pretty crazy week. A lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of little tidbits to talk to you about this week. So I think you're gonna find some of it pretty interesting. Pretty cool stuff. So I don't know why, but my cat is climbing on my tripod right now, and she's about to get thrown in the pool. Get out of here, poop. So here we go. Let's get into this, guys. SITREP 66 coming at you right now. So I want to turn you guys on to a buddy of mine. His name is Raymond, and he is an old paratrooper. Jumped out of perfectly good airplanes. I don't understand it, but good guy, published author. He actually sent the president off a copy of his book. And kind of told him a little bit about himself, and the president sent him a letter back saying how much he appreciates, what he's doing for the country and the youth of the nation and stuff, and hand signed the letter. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, Raymond has been a Christian since he was a kid, and he just recently started up his own YouTube channel. It's called Joshua's Remnant. I'll leave you the link to it in the description box below. But I strongly encourage you to check out his channel. So kind of a funny thing, when I first started this shout out for Raymond. I almost called him Riv. Riv is his nickname. That's what I call him. So Raymond and I were on the same team. We were developing a training system for the Army, and we were, TDY, we're traveling to an Army installation one time for like a week or something. We decided to take a break this one day for lunch. We went to the local club on base, and we ordered burgers, and the bartender was like, what name do you want to put this under? And I was like, I just put it under blue. She's like, huh? I said blue. The color blue. She's like, okay, you're blue? I said, yeah. She goes, who's this guy next to you, the Riviera kid? And I was like, well, yes, he is. So from that point forward, I started calling him Riv. I mean, and to this day, I still call him Riv. So, yeah, you never know. You never know how or when you're gonna get a nickname when you're hanging out with me, guys. It's just the way it is. So if it happens, just enjoy it, okay? All right. Critter cam wise, guys, I got nothing really decent, nothing good for you this week. I have some content that I am going to be sharing with you soon, but right now I haven't actually captured it on digits. I haven't taken pictures or video of it, but I think when I do and present it to you, you will be pretty impressed. Let's just leave it at that. My daughter and I just got back about 20 minutes ago from the Walkathon supporting Thrive Orlando, and I gotta tell you, it was a blast. It was fun. It just so happens that right outside of the church, you turn right on the sidewalk on this pretty major thoroughfare, and then take an immediate right like 20 feet later, and you're heading toward this very, very prominent park here in the Orlando area, and it's gorgeous place. So. It was a good time. I mean, just getting to walk, with her. There's probably a couple hundred people there, I think. It's pretty impressive turnout. Speaking of impressive, when I built my page, my donation page, it asks you what your goal is, and financial donation goal. I had no idea. I haven't done a walkathon since I was like 9, and so I just like, you know, went along with what my teammates did. It was $500. I joined late. I think I joined like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. So I didn't expect to make that, to be honest with you guys. And but we're receiving donations as early as I think this morning, and the end tally was $600 that you guys donated. So I mean, that's 20% over what I thought we'd make, and I didn't think we'd even reach the goal of $500. So for those of you who donated, thank you so much. I know right off the bat there was another friend who wanted to donate, but she thought it was next week. So I should have led her to the promised land better. So that's my bad, sister. Next year I'll better communicate what the cutoff is for donating. So, but yeah. So anyway, that was a huge success. Once again, thanks to all of you guys. And it felt good to get out there and walk, I gotta tell you. You know, just I haven't done that. I haven't walked that far, and I can't even remember how long. So, and now that I'm back on, I'm getting much better nutrition. You know, I stand to benefit from a walk like that more because I can convert the protein into mass and muscle. So, thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Here's a little tidbit for you guys that are struggling with head and especially neck cancer, throat cancer. So when you start going through chemotherapy and radiation, your mucosa, you know, a lot of the portions of your throat and your neck that generate mucus go haywire, and they start generating more mucus, and the mucus is not the standard run-of-the-mill stuff. It's thick. There may be times when you're coughing and spitting up blood. Other stuff that's just not pleasant to deal with. But my wife's Papaw was a coal miner for years, and I think like West Virginia, and he developed black lung, like a lot of, you know, people out of that time did, that were coal miners. And the one thing that Doc told him to do was smoke. And he told him that to stimulate him to cough up material, and what he would do is cough up this black stuff. Well, what he would do was he always had a spit cup around, and what he usually do, if I'm not mistaken, he'd like cut the top of a soda can open. I'm sorry, a pop can. That's what her family calls it, pop can. Don't even, I just can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. But anyway, he would cut off the top of a can, and he put a couple towels down in there. And you know, whenever he had these coughing fits, or he'd have to cough up, you know, material, he'd just spit into that spit cup, and he always kept it. It was always, you know, near him, usually under the chair or whatever. He didn't set it up on the table or anything like that, but you know, it was close by. And then all he had to do was, you know, take a tissue and just stick it on top of there to cover up whatever was in it. And you know, throughout the day he'd continue that process, right? He'd spit in the cup, cover it up, spit in the cup, and then as it got to a certain point, he'd just go empty it out. So I picked up that practice when I was going through chemo, and I can't tell you what a help that was, and what a reassurance it is to have the, you know, the benefit of that cup handy, and it was just always there when I needed it. So that's an ode to Papaw right there. You know, the old folks did stuff and said stuff and knew stuff because it made sense and it worked. So if it works, don't fix it. So there you have it. You can thank Papaw for the spit cup trick. So on the medical front, this is a very, very busy week. On Monday the 12th, this past Monday, I went into the VA and I had a procedure to insert another gastro tube, a G tube, or a feed tube, if you want to call it that, in my stomach. So as you can see here, these things, they're about 5-6 inches long. And the issue with these ones are that they run perpendicular to your stomach. So your stomach is here, and you can see how it just sticks straight out. And if you can imagine having 6 inches of hose sticking out of your abdomen, well, it's always flopping around, and right where it goes through into your stomach, when you move the outer part in one direction, the inside moves too, right? So you can imagine laying there and rolling over and pushing this, right? And then the inside, goes too, right? So it's needless to say, it's pretty painful. It's not a very desirable thing. Uh, the area is pretty sensitive, as you can imagine. So just touching it during the night, and the first night I must have hit it 20 times. I'm not even kidding you. Every time I moved one of my hands, I smacked it. So they make a different tube. It's called a sport tube. And if you can imagine, it works the same. It goes through your abdomen into your stomach. And there's a balloon on the stomach side that they actually blow up, and keeps you from pulling it out of your stomach, right? So now it can't get caught on things or anything like that. It's pretty sweet. So I talked the doc into, instead of giving me this standard tube that I got, and then going back in 4 weeks and pulling this one out and putting the sport one in, I said, look, I just got a tube out, in October, this past October. Can't you just use the hole that's in my abdomen now and just insert a sport tube right off the bat? And he took a look at it and stuff. He's like, you know what? I think I can do it. He said, I'll give it a shot. If not, then you're going to have to get, the regular tube and come back in 4 weeks and get it swapped out for the sport model. I said, okay, doc, yeah, I appreciate it. So long story short, if you look at this picture, you see this little round thing, right? This little button. Well, that's actually stitched in to the skin on my abdomen. And I'm not sure what it's there for. I could at least assume that maybe it's keeping that round plastic disc. It's creating a little bit of gap between the disc and the skin of my stomach or my abdomen, so air can get in there, right? So it can heal and you can clean it, right? Well, while I was in surgery, I felt this severe pain. And I mean, I was out, and every time this pain happened, and it was associated with this pressure, like I feel a strong pushing pressure and this pain, and I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I mean, I was hurting. I was hurting unit. And I heard him bark out some numbers to the surgical crew, and I could have swore, I'm pretty sure now it was up in the dose of happy juice that they were giving me to knock me back out, because obviously I could feel it. So long story short, in the recovery room, the doc was like, hey, I'm really sorry, buddy, I had to give you the old style tube, and you're gonna have to come back in 4 weeks to get it swapped out for the sport model. So he's like, I got to tell you, it was not for lack of effort. And I said, I remember waking up. He's like, yeah. He said, just understand. Now, apparently the sport one is a little bit bigger in diameter than the one I have now. He said he was pushing so hard to get the tube through my old stoma, the old hole where my old one was that healed up. He popped out one of those buttons that was sewn onto my skin. So how that works, I don't know, but I was like, you got to be kidding me. Thanks for the effort, doc. But so anyway, just so you know, I tried to save the taxpayer some money by killing two birds with one stone, since I was already on the surgical table by getting the sport model, but it didn't work out. So yeah, that was so now needless to say, my abdomen's a little bit tender. So what else on the medical front? Chemo. I got my date for chemo treatment. That's going to start. So today is Saturday. It's going to start next Friday. So 6 days from now. And from what I heard, I'm going to be an infusion sitting there in the chair. And yeah, here's a picture of my new port, by the way. They put this port in the same day they put it in my feed tube. And I don't know if you can notice it, but that there's a line that connects this where the big steri strips are. There's a plastic line that runs under my skin, and this other small part where the small steri strips are, that's going into a blood vessel in my neck. So they have special, when you go in for chemotherapy, they have this special needle that they use. It's kind of a round kind of disc like that, and the plastic part of it is about that thick, if you can imagine. And then there's a needle about maybe that long, so comparison to a fingernail or whatever, about the size of a fingernail. It sticks out. So what they do is just take that and push it through this big part where the most of the steri strips are. They punch it through the skin and punch it in through that plastic. So every time I go for chemo, that's what they use. Instead of going into your anacube here in your arm and all your hand blood vessels and all that, my blood vessels aren't in the best shape anymore. So it makes getting infusions much easier. So that's good to go. So I get my first infusion of chemotherapy next Friday, and the schedule for that is the same that I had put out in previous SITREP. This right here, if I have it, I'll put it up here. So elsewhere on the medical front, and also in conjunction with my feed tube, I started using the feed tube. I'm kind of easing into it, but I started using it this past Wednesday. It's just getting very, very difficult to swallow anything substantive. So cakes and cookies and stuff, I can chew and swallow that stuff all day. But meat or anything like noodles is even getting hard, believe it or not. So I can still do soups and stuff like that, but it's just getting too difficult to get the proper amount of calories and nutrients into myself. So I'm going to try and still maintain the muscles in my throat so I can enjoy the things that I enjoy. I do have a sweet tooth. I love my coffees in the morning. There is a possibility that the chemotherapy can affect my taste buds or my sense of taste going forward. But until the time that happens, I am going to do my best to maintain my capability to swallow. So whatever I can enjoy by mouth, I'm going to enjoy by mouth. So on the medication front, so in discussions with Dr. True, based on the pain level that I have, mostly in swallowing and whatever's going on with this tumor in my face, and with this tumor in my back, she decided to up the level of fentanyl that I have. So last time I talked to you guys about fentanyl, I think I was taking a 50 microgram and a 12 microgram patch, and I'd swap those out every 3 days. Since then, we went up to a 75 microgram patch and a 12 microgram patch, and now I am up to a 75 and a 50. So I'm up to 125 micrograms of fentanyl. And now, instead of taking 15 milligrams of instant release morphine for breakout pain when I need it, she upped that to a 30 milligram pill and I can take one of those up to every 3 hours. So hopefully once we get a couple of rounds of chemo under us, it will shrink the tumors and hopefully decrease the pressure and the pain that's associated with them. So I'm praying for that. that would be great, because then we can, possibly drop down the levels of all these drugs that I'm taking for pain. Back when there was a strong possibility that my cancer had come back, I had contacted my HR department and started talking to them about short-term and long-term disability. Now, the HR person that I was talking with was like, yep, it looks to me like you're qualified as far as the company goes, but I don't know what the requirement for the insurance company is going to be. So I don't know why, but I didn't pursue it with the insurance company. I think it was probably because I was afraid that I was going to tip my hat and they might call it a pre-existing condition. So I wish I had called now, because guess what? Because I hadn't gone 12 months since the last time I went to work, which was March of last year. It is a pre-existing condition. So although I am currently on short-term disability, that is going to run out here toward the end of the month, I think the 26th of April. And I am not qualified for long-term disability. So as always, I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers and my new subscribers. Welcome to the channel, guys. Hopefully you're not here because you have cancer. If you know anybody that has head, neck, or throat cancer, by all means, down here below, I think it's on this side, the share button, click on that and put their Gmail information in there. And then they will get a link to this channel, and they can get all the awesome information that I put on here, and look back at my, what is it now, almost a year and a half, or a little over a year and a half of videos. Some of it's pretty good stuff. I mean, some will be helpful. I wish I had found or had access to a resource like this. Mark Character was probably the closest I could find to it. And I used a lot of his format, the way he did things, to base my channel off of. So I think that's going to put SITREP 66 in the books, guys. We covered a lot of ground there. This was a lot of good information. I hope that you guys find it useful, right? So enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a great next week. As always, stay safe, take care of the ones you love and those around you, and we will see you next time.